A snowstorm is on the way for areas to the southeast for this upcoming weekend, and this could be a big one, folks. We're here to go over all the new information that we have. This really looks to pinpoint the Carolinas and surrounding states, but we'll also talk about other areas on up the East Coast also. So the first thing we'll go over is all the new model runs that we have for tonight. Then we'll cover all those flashy snow graphics, and then we'll nerd out with you guys a little bit, discuss the setup and all the energy associated with it. My name is Mitch. Good Wednesday evening. I hope you guys are doing awesome out there and have had a wonderful week so far. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you like it. And if anybody has anything I can pray about or pray over, please drop it in the comments below. Let's get rocking and rolling tonight. Let's go over the latest Euro. The blue is snow. The green is rain. You're not going to see much of any pink or orange on this, which indicates a wintry mix. I really think this is just going to be rain or either snow. So we're going to start off all guidance with Friday afternoon, literally under 48 hours from now. We got some snow breaking out across areas of the Appalachian Mountains, west and east of it. You got a little bit of moisture building down here in Alabama and Georgia. There's like a deeper shot of cold air kind of working into the moisture, and the moisture is going to become more widespread at the same time. So we start to move into Friday night. I mean, this is like midnight Friday night. And we start to get more widespread snow developing across, as far west as eastern Tennessee, eastern Kentucky, overspread in the southern Appalachian Mountains and areas of North Carolina, northern South Carolina to Virginia. Now watch how fast this escalates into Saturday morning. Here it goes. You start to see the darker blues, that's heavier snow. And then you start to get into Saturday afternoon, and you get an all-out snowstorm stretching from just about Atlanta, Georgia, all the way into Augusta, pretty much down the Interstate 20 corridor, up the I-95 corridor through the Carolinas, all the way into southeast Virginia. And this is snow flying around, guys, and very cold temperatures that I want to add. This isn't going to be some run-of-the-mill snowstorm we get in the south where it's like snowing at 32 degrees to 28. We could be getting a snowstorm in the low 20s to even upper teens in certain areas in the southeast. Pretty wild and really unusual type stuff here. But this is some heavy snow from Charlotte down to Columbia, almost down to Augusta. And then we continue all the way into late Saturday night. It is still snowing for the bulk of the Carolinas, up into Virginia, starting to snow for the Tidewater in the Delmarva area. And look how this thing cranks up. You see how you have a 971 millibar low popping off here. This would bring, if this is the way it happens, blizzard conditions, absolutely. Maybe as far down the coastline as Myrtle Beach, but definitely the eastern areas of North Carolina. And look, you got this axis of snow trying to get along or maybe west of the I-95 corridor, certainly east of it, and then this rides up and becomes just a huge, honestly a dangerous blizzard for areas of southeastern New England, Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, even up into Boston, and then it slams the down east areas of Maine. So, just taking a closer look at this for the Carolinas, because I know a lot of people are tuning in from this area. This is where I live. I live here in central South Carolina, here in Columbia. But just taking a closer look at this, and you stop it here Saturday afternoon, there's a real opportunity that it's just going to be absolutely ripping dry, kind of northern type snow. I'll stop it here, and you look at the temperatures at the same time frame. This is snow at like 19, 20 degrees in Columbia. It is snowing in the mid-teens up in North Carolina. It's going to be if this is the way it plays out, this will be a dry, powdery snow just blowing around. Not great for building a snowman or having a snowball fight, but fantastic for slipping and sliding. And of course, it would make for very dangerous road conditions. But this is just crazy to have snow flying around at those kind of temperatures here in the south. And you continue, and this is an all-out blizzard cranking here. Look at this heavy kind of deformation band forming off the west side of this low pressure. And look at the temperatures here. Just insane stuff. You have a blizzard on this output on the Euro in eastern areas of North Carolina in the teens. In the teens, guys. A very dynamic system, just crazy stuff. And just taking a closer look at New England on this run, and this is the first true run where it absolutely slams areas of southeastern New England, even gets the axis of snow all the way back into New York City. It's just a big hit for Cape Cod and surrounding areas. And it comes up and absolutely slams New England. Look, that's a 967 low. So the winds in this would be just absolutely outrageous. And I'll show you the wind graphic kind of embedded into all the snow graphics that I'll show you. But that's pumping out some 60, 80 mile per hour wind gust. Now you look at the GFS. It has been a bit of a goofball, I would say. It's kind of been an outlier a little bit. It's just been flopping back and forth like it always does. We call it the drunk uncle in the weather community, but same thing. It's breaking out the snow across the same regions as the Euro's showing. And then quickly it gets its act together Saturday afternoon. Big area of moderate to heavy snow across the Carolinas as far back as northeast Georgia, snowing in areas of eastern Tennessee, all the way into southern areas of Virginia. But it does something weird where it pops off a strong low pressure, produces maybe blizzard conditions in the eastern areas of North Carolina, very heavy snow all the way over to Myrtle Beach, all the way up to the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area. But then it doesn't really climb up the coastline. It just kind of heads on out. So it doesn't really affect the Northeast at all. And then you look at the Canadian run, it's kind of between all of that. And we look at Friday afternoon, here it comes developing, and there's a much more widespread area of snow. In fact, Model Guidance keeps teasing at this little area of snow back in Louisiana and Arkansas. It's going to be wild to see how that verifies. And this is just a deep trough, a deep shot of cold air. And there's even some Model Guidance teasing at some Bay effect snow in the Tampa Bay area. We'll talk about that maybe more into tomorrow when confidence increases. But this is a much wider storm on the Canadian. Then, it really cranks up and really bullseyes the Carolinas, but shows moderate snow as far west as Atlanta, Chattanooga, Gatlinburg, trying to get some snow back into Knoxville. And then it really cranks up and starts to pump out just a ton of snow getting thrown back into cold air across the Carolinas. And then it rides up and sort of clips areas of the Interstate 95 corridor, points east. It's close enough inland to bring accumulating snow into coastal areas of Maine. Maine too, but what I'm going to say was Maryland into Delaware. And then it comes up and it hits southeastern New England, but it doesn't just ram fully into it like the Euro does. And then we can look at Tolmerberg's website, Polar Weather. And this is the AI guidance. Remember, I've been showing you Weather Bell if you've been tuning into my videos, but his site is awesome because it tries to tell us what precipitation this is, and in this case, it would be snow. So this is the, what is this? This is the GFS AI run, and we're going to start off Friday. There it is. It's showing the same thing as the other model runs is showing. An area of snow starting the storm off sometime Friday, and then you can see what happens. You get a heavy banding of snow that tries to get all the way back into eastern areas of Georgia. It might be starting off as rain for certain areas, especially in Georgia and South Carolina. But this thing wraps up and really gets going, and it comes up and barely clips Cape Cod. I will tell you, the AI guidance just doesn't like the coastal thing as much as all the other guidance does. But same thing, this is the Euro AI model run, and it really just likes, I don't know what's going on here. What you got going on, man? We're trying to look at you here. Maybe it is not done loading. No, there it is. Is this the right one? Yeah. Let's see. Hold up. All right, we're just going to have to kind of make our way through this. It's being kind of finicky. But this is the Euro AI, the 18Z run, the latest run we have. And there it is, showing snow as far southwest as eastern Georgia, all the way through the Carolinas, all the way into Virginia. And we're going to have to kind of click this, see if it can. I just don't think it's done loading yet. Let's see if I can update this browser here and see if it'll do anything for me. I think the site's just struggling, but the Euro AI goes up and it really doesn't do a whole lot for, well, it does. It clips, here it is. It clips areas of New England a little bit more than the GFS AI does, but not as much. Now, the NAM, we only have 84 hours out of it, and another one's about to drop in about 45 minutes to 1 hour, so it might show something different. But this is the NAM from earlier this afternoon, and the long-range NAM isn't the best thing in the world. We all know that. But it's the only short-range model guidance we have. But, as we're getting into Friday night and the Saturday morning, it really shows intense snow breaking out. Same footprint across the Carolinas. That is the general consensus we're seeing here, is it really likes the Carolinas. I mean, it's like it's directly targeting us here in the Carolinas. And I say us because I live here. I live here in Columbia. And look at that nice heavy snow band right over the area. And as we're moving forward, we're getting into late Saturday night, and we're getting, just later into Saturday night. The blizzard portion of this tries to crank up, and this is some very heavy banding of snow from the PD of South Carolina, eastern North Carolina, to southeastern areas of Virginia, and that's as far out as we got. Now, the RDPS model run, which is basically a short-range version of the Canadian, follows kind of follows its father, if you will, the Canadian model run. And it's a much more widespread look, and it is a much more longer of a duration event. And I mean, look at the snow. I mean, this is getting a late Saturday night. This is getting a Sunday, and it's still going. And we don't have the entirety of the run here. So let's talk about how much snow could fall. First off, I want to mention we're already in range of some of the National Weather Service graphics. Now, this is kind of not automated necessarily, but it connects everything together. So this is kind of their first call, and this only goes out through Saturday evening, 7 p.m. So the storm is still going for a large area of the Carolinas. So it's already got 2 to 3 inches of snow down to Columbia. I mean, over an inch in Augusta. Throws a little love back to Atlanta. And then it's already done snowed half a foot by Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening across the Virginia-North Carolina border, according to this. So, I mean, this is kind of the first shot they're taking with accumulations, and they're already going very aggressive. Now, the standard for snowfall ratio is 10 to 1. And I want to get this kind of out the way before we get deeper into this. The snowfall ratio in this setup will be more so 15 to 20 to 1. And that means that 10 inches of snow, 1 inch of precipitation is equivalent to 10 inches of snow. But in this case, I think 1 inch of precipitation, which I don't know if anybody will get that much, 1 inch of precipitation will be equal to maybe 20 inches of snow. So I hope that makes sense. I don't want to get too deep into the nerding out part of that. But this is the national blend of all models, okay? And it is a strong signal across North Carolina, northern South Carolina, into southern Virginia. But I mean, it brings accumulating snow all the way down to the Midlands and the northeast Georgia, and brings a swath of snow into Norfolk, Virginia Beach, southern areas of Maryland. Anywhere where you start to get in this purple area and then get into the pink, that's over a half a foot of snow. And then we look up the northeast coastline, and I mean, it's a nice smoothed out signal. Shows us an array of possibilities here. You can get over a foot or just a couple of inches, but you can see how it shows the footprint of the western flank of this low pressure pretty well, with a swath of several inches of snow. And then, of course, you got, Cape Cod that sticks out, and there's over a foot snowfall signal here. And then you look at the Euro, which I walked out of church, saw this earlier about an hour ago, and, my jaw dropped a little bit. And it's funny because my pastor was talking about how, because we weren't able to have church last Sunday because we had an ice storm here, or ice event. And this is going to happen on a Saturday and last through Saturday night. So if anything even close to what you're seeing here, which is showing, over a half a foot in my house, and we're probably not going to have church Sunday, but they're saying no. We basically want to hope to have service, and I agree. But if something like this happens, then of course a lot of people aren't going to be able to go to church. But anyways, it was funny just being there. But anyways, I don't want to get too caught up in that. I already have. But this is a huge hit for the Carolinas. Eastern areas of even Tennessee get hit hard. I mean, it even brings half a foot snowfall totals all the way into northeast Georgia. Gives a few inches of snow into Atlanta, but I mean, Columbia, it drops over a half a foot. Same thing in Augusta. Drops on nearly a foot of snow in Charlotte, the Greenville-Spartanburg area. 10 to 14 inches of snow. This is not a forecast, but man, when the old reliable Euro, I call it the old man Euro, is showing stuff like this, that is a pretty wild signal. I keep thinking that we're going to get a rug pull, but things just keep locking in like a claw. It's just clawing in. It's digging in here. And then you can see how the axis sort of just gets more so out to sea up here. And then you get into southern New England. And you, on this specific run, you get a huge signal for over a foot of snow. It actually delivers over 2 feet of snow out on Cape Cod. And speaking of the winds, guys, if something like the Euro happens, it develops a very deep surface low, throws back a lot of strong winds, and we would get blizzard conditions in the Outer Banks and then in areas of southeastern Mass, Cape Cod, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket, etc. And we could even have blizzard conditions a little bit further inland, kind of off the coast. But you can see the wind field here generated by this low pressure off this run of the Euro. So pretty wild stuff. Now, if we look at the Euro ensemble, the signal increased. In fact, And this is only in 10 to 1, so you can multiply these snow totals by a time and a half or times 2. But if you look at the 4-run trend of this, folks, you can see this is kind of inching further west. And this is not only inching further west and further inland with more snow, but it's kind of nudging to the southwest too, trying to get areas like Chattanooga, Knoxville, down to Atlanta more into the game. You're going to need not a miracle, but you're going to need a lot of work for this to work out for like Alabama. I know you guys have kind of been gypped a little bit on the winter weather lately so far this winter, but we'll see what we can do. Now the GFS is a little bit different. It delivers all the Carolinas, literally everybody in the Carolinas accumulating snow, but it kind of brings that axis of heaviest snow further east compared to the Euro. The Euro more so over the Piedmont, stuff like that. But it is just a whopper of a hit, but it does not really climb up the coastline and really impact much of the eastern U.S., so I don't even have that pulled up. And then you look at the Euro AI, which only is a 10 to 1 ratio, so like I said, you can multiply this by a time and a half times 2. But I mean, I really want you just to focus on the footprint with this. I mean, it's the same footprint here, guys. It looks like almost somebody with a mitten kind of reaching out and grabbing something, don't it? That's pretty funny. I just noticed that. But anyways, it's a strong signal for North Carolina, areas of South Carolina, surrounding states, and it comes up and clips southeastern Mass. And then this is the part where we kind of geek out with you guys a little bit. So make sure I got my panels right because I've been getting some things mixed up lately. So we're going to look at the latest Euro. This is energy in the atmosphere, vortices. This is really what you look at. It's called the H5 pattern when you're really trying to just figure out what's going on. You can look at this when you're a nerd with the weather and kind of know what's about to happen before it actually reflects to the surface of snow or rain. So this is our main lobe of energy dropping down out of Canada right here. And it's going to dive down, kind of do this number, and then get negatively tilted, and in the process develop a very strong low pressure potential off the coast. But I want you to keep your eyes right on this, right? And there's some energy down here. For example, this energy right here is generating some snow before the main energy dives down. So keep your eyes on here. You see the position of this? This is Friday evening. What does the surface look like based off the 500 millibar vort map here? Not much. It shows some snow here. You would think, well, why isn't there a lot of snow right over this? That's not exactly how it works. This is still a very flattened zonal piece of energy, positively tilted. So it's not really strong. It's not going to generate a lot of snow to the surface. So right now you just kind of have this little puny area of snow here. Okay? Now, you start to move it into Saturday afternoon. Like, for example, this is, what's the time frame on this? This is 4 p.m. Saturday. And you can see how that entire area of energy came down and kind of curled. So at this point right here, it's sort of neutrally tilted, trying to get to the stages of being negatively tilted. And when you go from positive, when you go to positive to neutral to negative, so let me draw on this. Positive, neutral, negative. When you do complete this entire cycle, that is a sign of a strengthening storm system. And when that happens, you can get a developing low pressure that pumps out a lot of moisture. And if cold air is in place, like it will be here, you can get a monster snowstorm. So I just put that in motion. Now, what does the surface look like based off this look? Watch how it improves when I go to the same time frame. See how all of a sudden all that snow blossoms? It almost, the kind of footprint of snow almost looks exactly like the comma head. So this is digging in and getting a lot of moisture going. You can see the change there. In a response to this thing going from a positive to a neutral tilt, it's digging in, clawing in, if you will, curling. It pops off a low pressure right here. You can see, like, this is Friday evening. There's lowering pressure in a response to that, in response to this, beginning to take that negative tilt. You see how that thing's kind of bending and hooking down here? Okay, in response of that happening, you get a strengthening low pressure off the coast of the Carolinas, and eventually it makes its way up the coastline. So one thing that you're looking at here, what do you watch for trends? Well, if you want snow in the Carolinas, if you want snow in Georgia, you kind of want to keep this look. If you want snow back in Alabama, for example, or maybe further back in Tennessee, you're gonna have to somehow pull a miracle trend here and dig this energy further back this way and kind of have it sweep down here, kind of develop a low here and do like that. It's going to take a a minor miracle to do that. Now, what can change in the Carolinas? Well, a lot can change. For example, the tilt of this could change. Even the slightest tilt changes up the entire precipitation look. For example, let's try to do something on the fly. This is the 12Z run. If you noticed, the position of the energy itself is not that different. It's digging in about the same spot, maybe not quite as much, but if you notice with the colors of this and the colors of the current run, they're not as kind of there, if you will. They're not as red or slashes of purple. So on this specific output here, the energy is just stronger than this. Like this doesn't look like it's curling in as much in the same time frame than this. So what does that do in reflection to the precipitation? Well, this is the 12Z, and if you notice, did you see that? You see how on the run earlier this afternoon, you're not seeing as dark blue. The footprint of snow didn't really change, but the intensity of the snow did. This is the current run. You see how you have the darker blues, and the footprint did kind of shift a little bit back further west, but that is a difference. And you look at that and that. That's the minor details that we got to figure out. It's not going to be easy, guys, but that's all I got. That's a quicker video, even though still for other people that do what I do, this is probably a long video. But hey, this is getting close, guys. I mean, we're getting to game time. I think tomorrow you'll begin. Let me see if they haven't done it by the time. Maybe they've done it since I made this video. Let's see what we got here. No, they haven't. I really think we'll start to get a lot of widespread winter storm watches tomorrow across North Carolina first. But yeah, for all you folks that thought winter was over, I mean, man, we're in a crazy stretch right now, folks. So, hey, that's all I got. We'll do it again tomorrow morning. God bless. Share this video with a friend. Get it out there, guys. My videos have not been really tapping into the algorithm that much. And I posted about it today, and a lot of people made a really good point. It seems like weather YouTubers, it's a very saturated platform right now. It seems like everybody and their brother's trying it out. So I just think that that's putting a limiter on people's channel, not just mine, but others too. But appreciate the encouraging comments and yes, in this morning's video and online and stuff like that. Sometimes that helps. I mean, it always helps, but it definitely gives me a boost to remind me of how appreciated I am, how loved I am, and really just how much of a family you guys are to me. And you truly are. You really are, and I appreciate every one of you. So have a wonderful night. We'll do it again tomorrow morning. God bless, and we'll talk soon.